Fans, young and old, make their way through the turnstiles here at Busch Stadium. Another big crowd expected tonight. It's game 2 between the LA Dodgers and the St. Louis Cardinals. New face in the outfield for the lineup for Tony La Russa tonight. He'll play left field. Felipe Lopez, a former All-Star, now with the Cardinals, and called up just before the game tonight, reliever Chris Perez. That's Al Raboski. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to the broadcast booth. Delighted to have you with us here on FSN Midwest. Let's jump right into the pitching matchup. It's our Ford Key matchup. Sinker baller Derek Lowe against a guy really struggling right now. That's Joel Pinheiro.
Well, we know Derek Lowe, when he keeps the ball down, he gets ground ball after ground ball, throwing very well in his last 3 starts. And Pinheiro, the very high ERA, he's been given leads, he loses them, but hopefully he can turn that around tonight.
Another thrill last night for the St. Louis Cardinals. Some are saying an MVP candidate thus far this year. Ryan Ludwig with a walk-off home run. We'll take a look at all the walk-off home runs for the Cardinals in 08 when we come back. There is Todd Wellemeyer wearing Ron Ballone's BP jersey, having some fun at the ballpark. We had some fun last night with a walk-off home run from Ryan Ludwig. Let's take a look at the walk-off winners in 08. Runner at third, Schumacher. First pitch to him.
That's it.
Drive into right field. And it's a winner. A walk-off winner again for Schumacher, the home run. And the Cardinals win it 5-3 over the Cubs in 11.
Looking for a fly ball. He does a little better with this one as he hits this one right on top of the right center field wall.
In the air, left center field. Will it carry out of here? It is gone! Home run, and the Cardinals win it! Ludwig wins it with a walk-off home run. 9-8 the final. Troy Gloss, deep left field. Did he get enough? It's at the track, at the wall, and it is out of here! His second on the night. A walk-off winner for the Cardinals. 8-7 the final. Just cleared the wall. Cardinals tie it up with Duncan's home run off the bench. Gloss his second of the night. He wins it.
And they're 14-7 at home.
Here's a fly ball that may be out of the ballpark. It is a grand slam home run. Bottom of the 9th inning. And the Redbirds have swept the San Diego Padres. And this has really been a remarkable win for the Cardinals. They dodged some bullets, but win it in fine fashion. And look at this celebration.
What a scene at home plate. Aaron Miles is the man of the hour.
The air is just let out of the stadium. Ludwig into center field. At the track. At the wall. Walk-off winner for Ludwig. Here in the 11th. 6-4. The Cardinals win it. Some of the memories from this 2008 season. Let's hope we have some more tonight. It's game number 2 between the Dodgers and the Cardinals. A look around the major leagues is coming up next. Cardinals baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light. Endless refreshment from start to finish. Bud Light keeps it coming. By Auto Tire, for the lowest prices in town with 26 locations to serve you. You ought to go to Auto Tire, the tire pros. By Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. And by Geico Direct, a 15-minute phone call could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Just some of the food they're cooking up behind us here on level 3 at Busch Stadium. And a new Cardinal is in town. That is Felipe Lopez, the former Red and former Washington National. and a former All-Star as well. He's in left field tonight wearing number 22, which was worn by David Eckstein. Here's a look at the lineup for the Dodgers. It's Kemp, Ethier, and Martin, followed by Manny Ramirez. Against Pinheiro, good numbers, 11 for 26, 3 home runs. James Loney, then Blake, Ozuna, Baroa, and Derek Lowe, the pitcher, batting ninth. A look at the lineup for the Dodgers. And there's a look at the Cardinals starter tonight here for game number 2. It's brought to you by Rico. It's Joel Pinheiro.
Very few decisions for how many starts he's had. So 10 no decisions. And wins have really been a struggle. He's allowed 10 hits in 4 straight games, so he's got to keep the ball down. He's got to hit some gloves, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, he needs some help because he has been given leads. Can he hold them? That's the big question. Pinheiro last 6 starts, an ERA close to 7. Lopez is starting left, Schumacher in center, Ludwig is in right, Gloss is Turris, Kennedy and Pujols along the infield, and Yadier Molina is behind the plate. And here we go. Matt Kemp, the center fielder, will lead it off. Another sea of red here tonight. First pitch, a line drive and caught by Turris. Hit some gloves. That's what you said.
Hit some gloves. That's good enough. Prefer it on the ground, but, you know, get quick outs, get first pitch outs. That's awesome.
Well, the Dodgers' first innings have been outstanding. Matter of fact, the best in baseball. They have 90 first inning runs coming into play tonight. So shut them down in the first inning and shut down this offense. It is, though, Al, a completely different looking team for Joe Torre in his lineup with Manny Ramirez and also Casey Blake.
Yeah, it really has changed the complexion as Joe Torre's team offensively very challenged. Great pitching, but just don't score enough runs. That's why they got that 500 record.
That's why a lot of people believe that they could be such a threat down the stretch because now they have the offense possibly to go with the very good pitching. Bullpen's been good. Their starters have been good. It's 82 degrees, our game time temperature tonight. Joe Torre, first year in L.A.
Talking with a couple of Joe's coaches, and they said, boy, that Arizona ball club, though, can really throw some great pitching at you, too.
We still have to see them this year. The 1-1 is taken low and away, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Now, the one good thing you talked about, the Dodgers' first innings and how prolific they are. That's what Pinheiro has been outstanding. He's just allowed 5 first inning runs, but he really struggles in the 4th and 5th.
A 2-1 pitch. A grounder hit to short. Turris with it. The former Dodger, the former Gold Glover, puts it away. Certainly the big story is Russell Martin will dig in. You see ERA by inning, 1 through 3, 4 through 6, and then 7 on. And Pinheiro basically has been averaging just under 6 innings a start. Big story, though, Al, here in town is what to do at the back end of games with the closer and what may happen tonight. The Cardinals have called up Chris Perez.
Well, Tony, very secretive as to who his closer will be, and says like tonight, McClellan and Franklin not available. Will depend on game situations.
Most blown saves since 1954, and unfortunately the Cardinals are moving up on that list, already 27 this year.
Most in the major leagues this year.
If you win half of those games, you're not talking about the wild card, you're talking about competing for the division.
Or leading the division, probably. But Tony has said, you know, maybe it depends on a game. You might have to use your best pitcher in the 7th or 8th inning just to get you, hopefully, a lead in the 9th.
On deck, Manny Ramirez. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Martin.
Martin will have the day off tomorrow, like Jeff Kent is getting the day off tonight.
There's a swing and a miss. Good start for Pinheiro. Strikes out Martin, leaves Ramirez on deck, and the Cardinals coming up in their half of the first. Here at Busch Stadium. Glad you're with us. There's no score. Tony La Russa and the Cardinals 63-52 on the season. Game number 116 tonight in the year. And a look at Tony's lineup. We'll highlight Ludwig, 3rd career walk-off home run last night. That happened in extra innings. Schumacher will lead it off, followed by Kennedy and Pujols. Then Ludwig batting cleanup, providing protection behind Albert. Then Gloss, Molina, Lopez, Pinheiro, and Cesar Turris. When he's right, he works quickly. He gets a ton of ground balls. It's our Rico starter, Derek Lowe of the LA Dodgers.
Well, you can see he's 1 game under 500. Pretty good ERA at 3.70, but his last 13 starts, He's 6-5 with an ERA of 2.66. Lost his last time out to the ground ball master, Brandon Webb.
Here's a ground ball hit to second, taken there by Pablo Ozuna. One pitch and one out. The defense behind Derek Lowe tonight, as we go around the horn, as always, brought to you by Auto Tire. 264 ground outs now for Derek Lowe, 263 at the start of play, only 106 flyouts. Ramirez, Kemp, and Ethier in the outfield. Blake, Baroa, Ozuna, and Loney are along the infield, and behind the plate, Russell Martin. And that's a strike to Adam Kennedy.
A lot of pitchers will get either on the first base side or the third base side. He's right there in the middle. But he's really got terrific movement, so all he's really trying to do is get the ball to move and stay down.
And Al, he's a guy that's done just about everything. He's been a middle reliever, he's been a starter, he's been a closer, he's thrown a no-hitter, he started an all-star game. He's got, as you mentioned, terrific movement, and when he's right, it's ground ball after ground ball.
Well, I mentioned, you know, he and Brandon Webb are the two best ground ball getters. How about that? Getters? You like that?
It works.
Two ground ball getters in the National League.
0-2 pitch. Right on the black of the outside portion of the plate, and Kennedy spoiled the pitch. You can see right now on a hot night, and I say it's hot because it's muggy here in St. Louis, but the jersey already is completely wet for Derek Lowe.
You'll see in an inning or two he'll change that. And you know, the Cardinals' approach is just to try to get him to elevate the ball. If he does that, he is so much more hittable. But when he gets the ball down, all you do is pound it in the ground, and his defense does the rest.
Pujols on deck, and here comes a 1-2 pitch. Up the middle, base hit. And Lowe, I think, is frustrated on a couple levels. One, that he gives up the base hit, but two, the pitch before looked awfully good. Matter of fact, Russell Martin is talking with the home plate umpire about it, but it looked to be strike three. Instead, it's Kennedy with a one-out base hit.
And there's a ball down. Kennedy has had great success against Derek Lowe. He's down 12 for 30. Yeah, left-handed batters have a little bit more of an advantage against him.
And here's Pujols, who homered here last night, number 22. Now with 69 RBIs. Can he get to the century mark?
He'll get to the century mark as long as he's healthy.
2 for 5 with a home run and a pair of RBIs last night. We'll wrap up this series tomorrow afternoon. And then a long road trip coming up. 3 cities. Maybe a defining trip for this OA team. Up the middle. Base hit. Kennedy to second. On his way to third. The throw is not in time. Pujols advances to second. Save. Heads up play on both ends.
Alex, a great play, a great hustling play, because Albert is safe out there at second base, just right up the middle, had enough to get through the infield. Kennedy made the decision that he was going to go on to third, high throw, and then they throw back to second base, and Albert beats the tag. So you saw Kindo trying to say slide to the infield side. Albert, with that very aggressive base running, gets in there at second base, and the Cardinals have something going early.
We talked about Adam Kennedy, 12 for 30 against Lowe now in his career. He's also hitting .360 over the last 8 days. That gets away. Kennedy will score. And Pujols advances to third. It's 1-0 St. Louis here in the first.
Russell Martin last year was the Gold Glove winner based on his offense. He committed an awful lot of errors. He has 10 errors this year, and you can see the body shift. As he doesn't get over there, his glove deflects it over his shoulder, and the Cardinals have the 1-0 lead. And Ludwig, providing all that protection for Albert, is up here, and he's had success against Derek Lowe.
1-0 pitch outside, 2 balls and no strikes. You go back to the non-third strike call, and you see the at-bats per home run, and Ludwig only trailing Adam Dunn, who you know is going to be on that list. You expect Burrell and Howard, and maybe not so much Uggla, but certainly this year. Hit to the right side and taken by James Loney. So 2 outs.
Albert's usually always so aggressive, and this time not going on contact or a little ground ball to the right side. And once you hesitate, you might as well go back to the bag. It's too late then.
Here's Troy Gloss. We mentioned that Chris Perez was recalled, the right-hander from Memphis today, and the Cardinals optioned out outfielder Nick Stavinoa. Matt Clement cleared waivers today and was given his unconditional release. And the club currently has 40 players under control.
That was Felipe Lopez.
Gloss, little number back to Derek Lowe. He'll underhand to Loney, but the Cardinals, thanks to the wild pitch, have a 1-0 lead after 1 here at Busch Stadium. Top of the second here at Busch Stadium. Glad to have you with us here on FSN Midwest. Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin, and our friendly crew that works at Sports Service here at the ballpark. Always with a smile on their face and saying hi. They're not booing her. They're booing Manny Ramirez, if you hear that bleeding through our microphone. Now, that's supposed to be a new helmet, isn't it? Or do you just come with the one from Boston repainted? But it's dirty already. Nasty. Sticky. Inside on Manny.
How'd that not hit him?
As baggy as his uniform is, it's surprising.
Well, what he has done against Pinheiro and what he's done against the National League since coming to the Dodgers, maybe that's the best way to pitch him.
And here comes a 1-0 pitch to Manny Ramirez. Taken for a strike on the inside corner. Joe Torre was asked about Manny before the game, and he said, you know, he's still trying to get used to him, but has a history with him from all-star games and certainly knew him from his days in Boston and Joe in New York. But he said one thing is undeniable. As Ramirez hits this into right center field, a hanger. Schumacher looks up, opposite field, home run, Manny Ramirez. We're tied, it's 1-1.
That's what's undeniable.
He's got power, he can flat out hit, and he comes ready to play. And he said our young players are seeing a guy that prepares like nobody else. He said, you know, you take a look at the flamboyant way that he plays the game, the hair, the uniform, all the different things you've heard about with what Manny Ramirez has brought from Boston. He said, but the bottom line is the guy can hit and he prepares.
And that's what you said too. He can hit hanging breaking balls. Pinheiro knows about Manny. They were played together before he came to St. Louis last season. He faced him when he was with Seattle.
James Loney, the hitter, strike one.
What are you doing? Being a southpaw? Oh, Dad, how could you teach your son?
It looks pretty sad that he did it too, doesn't he?
I mean, but you know, the dad's sitting there clapping.
There's a shot to short and caught by Izturis. May have broken the bat of James Loney. 405 feet, that home run by Manny Ramirez. Sunday night, television's biggest night with the summer sports block, beginning with the Hooters Dream Girls, then baseball's golden age, followed by amazing sports stories, and finally the best damn top 50. The summer sports block begins Sunday at 7 only on FSN Midwest.
Hey, it's Blake.
Just not the one we thought was going to be here playing third.
And Sikeston, Missouri is, I'm surprised they haven't kidnapped him or haven't done something.
I bet
the parade got canceled, huh?
We probably have more people from Sikeston, Missouri to see this game tonight than we ever had when the Dodgers come through St. Louis. And we're talking about Blake DeWitt, who is from Sikeston, began with the Dodgers, made their club, and he was optioned on July 25th. Couldn't quite make it to St. Louis.
But you know what? He left a very favorable impression. Blake DeWitt. A span of a day or a few hours, they lost like 3 third basemen, and he filled the gap and did a fine job early in the season.
That's a base hit into right field for Casey Blake, who's really provided a understated punch in this lineup because of Ramirez, but now Blake is also contributing as well. Want to win the ticket game? Go to StubHub.com. It's fast and easy. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals. Manny Ramirez is now 11 for 26, 3 home runs against Pinheiro in his career.
And off to a great start since he's come over to the Dodgers in I guess the final seconds of the trading deadline.
Literally. 1 out, runner at first. Ozuna trying to bunt.
Pablo Ozuna was in the Cardinal minor league system, and a lot of people did not want to give him away in the Renteria deal. And then after 9/11, when they really started scrutinizing birth certificates from Latin American players, they found out that Pablo was older than Renteria.
Well, how disappointing though is it with Pinheiro given another lead?
I didn't want to bring it up.
The following inning, he gives it back up, and it's now 1-1. He's had a trend of games like this recently.
Yeah, and it's a prime example is like the home run, a hanging breaking ball. I mean, a lesser hitter can hit that pitch out of the ballpark, but to Manny Ramirez, he's never going to miss it. And that's when you really got to bow your neck and really bear down. And there's been times when he's needed to do so, he cannot make the pitch.
Cardinals last night turned 3 double plays. They need one here. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And the thing is he is very capable with a good sinker and a good slider that he can get those ground balls.
Runner goes, and it's foul. The Dodgers, you would think, Al, would be a dangerous team in the final couple of months of this regular season with the addition of Manny Ramirez, what he means to their offense, and the fact that from opening day, Joe Torre has seen his club be able to pitch. That's the name of the game.
Yes, and right now his closer's out, but they've been getting great relief work from his setup man, Jonathan Broxton. And the thing is you got Jeff Kent in there. You got Foucault and Garcia Parra that are on the disabled list. They really have missed Foucault.
How about Andrew Jones?
Well, he's just sick. The bat's sick.
Homered last night, but only his 3rd home run of the year.
And I mean, and batting well under 200. And that was only, his first home run in 6 weeks or so.
1-2 in the dirt.
Larry Boa told me in spring training, he says, we're going to be in trouble. And Andrew Jones was having a very tough spring training. He said, we're going to be in a lot of trouble if he continues to swing this way. And I talked to him. I said, is he through? And he said, no, he's only like 30 years of age. He said, I can't believe he's through. He said he's very stubborn. He's just trying to pull everything. And I asked about the home run. He said it just hit his swing.
2-2 pitch. Runner not going, and a ground ball hit to short. Isturis will go to second, out there as Kennedy stays on the bag. So they get the lead runner on a 6-4 play. And it brings in Angel Baroa.
Isturis throwing the ball. He's out on the infield grass, so he's throwing behind him and a little bit wide. So Kennedy does a nice job just to stay on the bag, but it is in no position to make a throw. And Pablo Ozuna has very good speed.
2 outs and a runner at first for Angel Baroa, the former Rookie of the Year with the Kansas City Royals. A shortstop for the Dodgers now. With 2 outs, a check with Ozuna over there at first base. 1-1 game. Cardinals scoring a wild pitch. And LA ties it up with a Manny Ramirez home run. His 3rd wearing Dodger blue. Talking about Blake DeWitt, he's only 23, and they consider Mr. DeWitt still a very fine and valuable prospect. From June 1st through the 23rd of July, right before he was sent down, really struggled. He was hovering around 200 in that time frame after getting off to the great start.
Yeah, and sometimes you just got to send a guy down and clear his head, because he could really bury himself up here if he just continues to struggle.
That's hit down the left field line, but foul. Talked to Mark Sweeney about him. He said you wouldn't find a more likable young player in the game than Blake DeWitt, because he listens.
Well, and that was the point about all the coaches when we saw him out in LA and asked about him. They were raved about how what a good kid he was, and how receptive and how much he was learning.
There's a look at Mark Sweeney, outstanding pinch hitter. In the air, right center field. Schumacher on the move. He won't get to it. It goes to the wall. A run will score. Baroa on his way to third. He's in there with a triple. It's 2-1 Dodgers. The 8th place hitter, Angel Baroa, with a triple. 2-1 LA, their first lead of the night. Baroa picks up his 5th RBI in the year.
They had him played around the other way, so a very long run for Schumacher into right center. And really got into third with no play at all.
So here's Derek Lowe, 5 RBIs on the year. A 2-out triple by the 8th place hitter. And Lowe takes a strike on the inside corner. Lowe is a free agent to be, and many believe that he will not be back with the Dodgers. Here comes an 0-1 pitch to Derek Lowe. 0-2. To me, Derek Lowe could be a pretty valuable guy for somebody.
Absolutely. He's 35 years of age, but he has been Mr. Dependable.
Doesn't miss a start.
Doesn't miss a start. A lot of innings.
The 0-2 pitch, and a strikeout for Pinheiro, his 2nd of the night. The Dodgers have their first lead. Manny Ramirez ties it up. Joe Torre's reaction. 2-1. Let's take a look at our Fruit of the Loom feel for the game. 2-1 Dodgers. Manny Ramirez shows a feel for the game, a feel for the long ball. Brought to you by Fruit of the Loom. The sweet swing of Manny Ramirez. He says that he is open to cutting his hair. Joe Torre has asked him to clean it up, and Manny said no problem. I just want to be treated like everybody else, and Torre said fine. But there are some rules about how we keep our hair, so when they go back to Los Angeles, apparently he's going to trim it up.
Do they play New York again or Boston? If they don't play Boston, you can say, well, I'll get it cut next time we go to Boston.
I'm not sure
My
what
personal
he's
barber.
You know, he's been growing it out for 4 years now. It's tough to say goodbye to those locks. He's worked very hard at getting that hair the way it is. 1 ball, 1 strike on the Cardinal catcher.
You're talking about Mr. Dependable.
And you're talking about Derek Lowe.
Yeah, Derek Lowe is tied with Mark Burley for 4th in baseball, with this being his 223rd start since the start of '02. Trails Maddox at 230, Barry Zito 228, and Livan Hernandez 226. Also, you know, he and Brad Ausmus are the only active major leaguers that have spent 10 years or more in the big leagues without a stint on the disabled list.
That's saying something too. As quickly as organizations are to put especially pitchers on the DL.
Sure. Now, years ago, a guy didn't go on the disabled list until about his last year or two, and that was kind of a sign that you're coming to the end.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Manny Ramirez is now 11 for 17, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs in 5 games since being acquired from the Red Sox. Also, that home run puts him in sole possession of 20th place on the all-time home run list. A strikeout of Molina. I'm sure at one point Joe Torre never thought he'd be managing a team that had these Boston ties. Derek Lowe, Nomar Garciaparra. Are you kidding me? Manny Ramirez?
Well, he thought he'd do it in an all-star game, and probably did have all 3 of them at one time.
But he's got all 3 in Dodger blue. And Joe's even talked about how it was good for him to get out of New York. He needed a change of scenery, kind of jumpstart the batteries. What a job he did, not only handling the boss, handling the press, but handling his own team.
Yeah, Joe did a outstanding job and was so well respected in New York. They loved him because he was Brooklyn born, and when he was managing the Mets, he had and played for the Mets, he had a very good relationship with the media, and that continued. Not only did Manny Ramirez move into sole possession of 20th place, but you know who he passed? Hall of Famers Ernie Banks and Eddie Matthews.
We were talking about it, Rick and I, last night, Al. I want to get your thoughts on Ramirez. I mean, most people believe it's a lock, first ballot Hall of Famer for Manny Ramirez.
Well, I think you have to say that now. You know, I mean, he's gotten over the 500 home run, and he's still going to keep on charging. You know, he's going to end up this year with better than 1,700 RBIs.
Lopez, a base hit into right field, his first as a Cardinal. Felipe Lopez.
You know, Felipe was 05 when he was not only a National League All-Star, but he was the Silver Slugger Award winner, both best offensive shortstop that year. He has played short, second base, and this is his 7th start this year out in left field.
And remember, Al, when we would see him in Cincinnati, he would get to a ton of balls. Good range, good arm, but sometimes played with a little bit too much flair.
And
here's Pinheiro trying to bunt. He does successfully. It's a sacrifice. Martin to Ozuna covering first, and now the tying run is at second base with 2 down. This week, Fox Saturday Baseball. Albert and the Cardinals head to Chicago and Wrigley Field to take on Alfonso Soriano, who homered again today for the Cubs. It's Fox Saturday Baseball, the game of the week. That'll be at 2:30 Central in high definition, only on Fox. The Cardinals and the Cubs.
I wonder if anybody will go to those games this weekend.
Yeah, probably be empty at Wrigley. Not many there.
Don't call us for tickets.
No, it's going to be a zoo. Isn't it great, though, to be in August and 2 teams that have been bitter rivals over the years, and both teams thinking about postseason play to add to it. The Cubs have just been remarkable at home, as Turris takes a ball down and in.
43-16.
Won their
69th game today.
And they beat Brandon Backey and the Astros 11-4. Milwaukee beat Cincinnati 6-3. The 2-0 is hit up the middle, but Baroa is there. Gloves, spins, safe, throw to the plate, and out is Lopez, trying to be aggressive with the play. The Dodgers were ready for it as Lopez tried to score from second base. After picking up his first Cardinal hit, thrown out at the plate. Easy call. 2-1 after 2. Folks in Big Mac land have been treated to a couple of home runs there this year. Most recently off the bat of Ryan Ludwig. On the left, there's Brian Anderson and his son. That's Nathan, also Annie Anderson. And Nathan is soon to be shipped off to Iraq for the 2nd time. We appreciate his service. His uncle works in our booth, also known as Big Dog. There's Big Dog, very proud of Nathan, enjoying the ball game here tonight. That pitch is popped into right field. Long way to go for Ludwig. Near the line, that's a fair ball. Ground rule double.
Catch a break there, as Ludwig was in no position to hold the runner to second base, so would have been at least a triple for Kemp. Good effort by Ludwig. Right at where the side wall jets out, and Justin Fair, and then you see him hit the low wall and caught a break where it bounces into the stands. If that ball bounces into the corner, it's a sure triple. Never got quite there. And then you got a balancing act to keep from hurting yourself.
Here's Andre Ethier, grounded to short, first time up. 2-1 Dodgers. RBIs for the Dodgers. There's a good play as Pujols will put it in his back pocket. I say good play because the runner advances to third, but the RBIs for Manny Ramirez, a solo home run, his 3rd, and Angel Baroa, 2-out triple. Both runs coming in the 2nd. Pujols thought about going to 3rd.
You got to look there, but you know, Kemp's got good speed. He got a good jump. and really you cannot. You've got to get it out. So the sure bet was at first.
And now you get the third place hitter with a runner at third and one out. 2-1 Dodgers. Russell Martin struck out his first time up. Tapped out in front of the plate. Molina on it. Spins and throws out there, and the runner stays put at third. Big out.
Absolutely right. Russell Martin, one of their better offensive weapons.
Let's take a look at our schnooks at this date in baseball history. National League owners agreed to the $20.5 million sale of the Cubs to the Tribune Company back in 1981. That price tag has gone up just a little bit.
Whew. Can you imagine? Since 81. Now, if there's any time to pitch around a guy,
this is it.
This is it.
This guy is smoking hot right now. Manny Ramirez. Mark Cuban is trying to purchase the Chicago Cubs, and look at where Molina sets up. He's about 2 feet outside.
Well, let's hope he can make sure he hits the target.
I'm going to ask you this again. Why don't you just intentionally walk him if you have no intention on giving him anything to hit, and run that risk of leaving a pitch over the middle of the plate?
Tony really does not like to do that. He doesn't, want to just concede, and rarely will do it. But he asks his pitcher to be smart enough to, you just cannot allow this guy to have a pitch that he can drive the ball.
That's a strike. 2-1. Rarely do you see Tony La Russa do it. Fewest in the National League. 16 intentional walks by the Cardinals. That's it. Look at that. The Central doesn't like to walk anybody. Milwaukee and Pittsburgh and Chicago all in the top 5. Here's another one going to the outside portion. The 2-1. Ramirez, a big rip, fouled back. 2-2. Now that changes things. You get 2 strikes on him.
Well, sometimes that's a mistake, to get 2 strikes and then think, oh, I can do it. You still got to take that approach that, if he flares or quails one, you can live with that, even if it drives in a run. But don't give him anything to where he can just drive it. Sometimes when you get that 2 strike count, you think you can do it, and then he's got you.
Going inside, and it's fouled away. So every pitch outside, but I was talking with some of the Dodger folks, a couple players, and they said the thing that stands out about them is right there, how quick his hands are, Al. They say he's got some of the fastest hands they've seen in baseball.
Look at his numbers.
It's amazing.
Obviously, Pinheiro has struggled of late executing pitches when he needs to. Come back inside.
The 2-2.
So those are pretty good pitchers' pitches, but yet he can get a piece of it, like as you said, with those very quick hands.
Well, Pujols is the same thing. I mean, it's a pitch that sometimes you look at it, it looks like it's going to hit his hip, and not only does he make contact, but then he keeps it fair.
Yeah, I mean, he has a nice swing on it, where other guys, they're hitting it off their fist, but his hands are so quick he can get through the zone.
The 2-2 pitch as they set up outside. Full count. Behind Ramirez, James Loney. 3-2. So what do you come with here with Manny Ramirez at 3-2?
You got, throw that slider out there, the breaking ball out of way.
And Ramirez hits it into center field.
There's what happens when you get 2 strikes and you think you can get a guy out. The ball's elevated.
But I'll go back to the original point. Why even pitch to him? Single by Ramirez, his second RBI in the game. 3-1 Dodgers. Boy, is he good or what?
He's set up away, and it's away, but he's looking for it. But it's elevated, so all he does is get a line drive up the middle.
2 of the 3 runs for the Dodgers have been scored with 2 outs. Loney lined out his first time up to short. Three to 1 LA. And there's a ground ball handled by the second baseman, Adam Kennedy. 2 RBIs tonight for Manny Ramirez. 3-1 Dodgers midway through 3. We're back, and here is Skip Schumacher. First pitch to start the bottom of the third is a strike at the knees from Derek Lowe. The Cardinals elect to pitch to Manny Ramirez with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position. First base open, and he burned him. Here's a ground ball hit to the right side. Lowe covering first base, and Skip is 0 for 2. Dave Duncan apparently went underneath the dugout with steps behind Tony La Russa, with Pinheiro and Duncan having a little conversation apparently.
I mean, I just think they just kind of go over the situation, and you know, when they didn't mind if he walked him in that situation. You know, but you just make too good of a pitch to too good of a hitter in you know, RBI situations. And I know you're thinking that, okay, if the guy's struggling making pitches, well, why don't you make it easy on him and intentionally pass him?
Right.
Walk him. Go to your mouth 4 times. But then you balk him in too. But
I know what you're saying. Here's the 0-1 pitch, hit out of play by Kennedy. Strike 2. Kennedy seeing a little bit more playing time the last handful of games.
Well, he's had good success against Derek Lowe, but Tony's got on record because of a lot of the off days they have, particularly in August. Get off this next road trip. You know, it's not so much that you have to rest your players for the stretch run. It's going to be who's playing the best gets the most playing time. They'll look at certain matchups, and this one was undeniable. You had to start Kennedy.
That's hit out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The upcoming schedule for the Cardinals is a tough one. You've got the Dodgers here tonight and tomorrow. Then we head out on the road. 3 with the Cubs, who are tremendous at home. 4 with Florida. They're still in the race. And then you go to Cincinnati. And this is where it gets a little odd. A little quirk in the schedule, as there's a strikeout of Kennedy. Al, I can't recall having a situation in recent memory where you have an off day, a 2-game set, an off day, 3-game series, off day, 2-game set, and then another off day. You just don't see that very often.
No, it's, you know, granted it is the dog days of August, but you would love to have had those 1 or 2 of those off days spread over the course of the year and not all bunched up.
And Pujols rifles one fair into the corner. And Albert will dig for 2. And he's 2 for 2 on the night. A 2-out double for Pujols. So the question then becomes, if you're Tony La Russa, and depending if your situation in the back end of your bullpen is settled, what do you do with the rotation with all those off days? Do you mix and match to maybe just go with a 4-man rotation?
Yeah, I think that's the intent, is you can go with a 4-man rotation. Another reason why I favor putting Wainwright in the closer's role.
You have to stabilize that first, don't you?
Yeah, I was gulping when you said it's stabled.
Oh, let's
the
get
back
that
end
part,
of the bullpen was under control.
Let's get that part right, and then we can worry about everything else. And here is Ludwig with 2 outs, and that ball scoots away. You see Martin trying to pick it and not get in front of it and block it. That already led to a run, and now Pujols advances to third.
Instead of the weight shift that we're so accustomed to seeing and blocking the ball with your chest protector, this is what happens when you just try and pick it and go out there. Cardinals got their 1 run on a wild pitch that scored their run, and here Pujols with 2 outs is over at third because of another wild pitch. But both of them have been tough, but both of them could have been blocked.
2-0. The last one, I think, a little bit tougher than even the previous one. Not an easy pitch to block and keep in front.
Put it this way. We'll take Mike Matheny and say, I think it's blocked.
Yeah. But you would agree, Matheny, in all your days of playing and watching the game, if not the best, one of the best at doing that.
Yes. And I don't remember Johnny Bench or Gary Carter, guys like that, you know, really blocking the ball effectively like Mike did, and you know, kind of how Dave Ricketts taught, and Jeff Murphy continues to work with today's catchers. Molina very good at it also.
Pujols is the runner at third base with 2 outs. The 2-2 pitch. Ludwig, a broken bat, right field, and a base hit. Albert will score, and Ludwig adds to his RBI total, now at 81 on the year. So the pass ball, or the wild pitch, not sure what they called it yet officially.
I would have to say it's anytime it touches, it's a wild pitch, and that's going to be a wild pitch. But we're talking about, instead of going and blocking like that, and there you see the broken bat, but effectively placing it the right side and through. From second base, doubtful that Pujols would have scored on that one. But from third, scores easily.
Cardinals have already had a runner thrown out at the plate. That was Lopez. But an infield hit in the bottom of the second by Isturis. He was trying to score from second, and the play went 6-3-2. Troy Gloss grounded back to Derek Lowe his first time up. And it's 2 balls and no strikes with 2 outs and the tying run over at first. Boy, we were sad to hear about the news of Skip Carey, and I talked to him just last week. His passing, and I know that you had a nice relationship with him because of your days playing there in Atlanta. Our thoughts and prayers with Chip, his grandson, and our buddy, and the entire Carey family.
He was just telling me, and I kidded Chip about it, but he was saying that his youngest son, who's broadcasting in Rome, Georgia, you know, a minor league affiliate there, he says he's going to be the best of the bunch.
Line drive, base hit over Baroa in the left. Ramirez cuts it off. Ludwig will stop at third base. Just a rope off the bat of Troy Gloss, and that's 3 consecutive hits for the Cardinals here this third.
And Ramirez got over to his left, cut that ball off pretty quick, and got it back in. But you're right, a rocket in the middle of the plate instead of down and away. But Manny coming over here, cuts it off, gets it back in. Can't argue with that.
Did the job.
Yeah, but Skip, and you and I noted that, you know, he's coloring him. He'd been ill for quite a while, and it's terrible to see him pass. At least he went into sleep, you know. What better way to go.
Yep. Runners at first and third. Molina struck out his first time up. You were telling me that before TBS hit and the Braves became such a national focus for baseball, he was pretty rough on the players.
Oh yeah, I mean really. Yeah, at one time he went on the air and told people to turn it off, but to patronize the sponsors.
It's being pretty rough.
Hey, this is so bad. Just turn off the TV, but please patronize all of our sponsors. And you know, he came up with a lot of cocktail jokes. I was doing an old timers game, and somebody had asked him to kind of do some play-by-play, and I threw a pitch, and he said, "Well, if this is anything like he pitched in Atlanta, he'll throw this pitch and back up third."
Base hit in the right. Molina ties it up with a 2-out RBI. 4 consecutive hits, and it's 3-3. How about Molina and how clutch he has been with runners in scoring position this year, and then taking it a step further, all the 2-out RBIs that he's picked up.
27 of 42 have been with 2 outs, and it was all set up by a wild pitch. I mean, it would have been tough to block it, but that allowed Pujols to go from second to third. They eventually scored on Ludwig's base hit, but here's Molina, clutch again. 27 of the 42 RBIs have all come with 2 outs. Quick visit from Rick Honeycutt, the pitching coach of the Dodgers.
finished up with the Cardinals. Did Rick Honeycutt. There you see runners in scoring position with 2 outs. Cardinals 3 for 4 tonight. Honeycutt pitched in 96 and 97 with the Cardinals, you might remember. Only 2 games, though, in 1997.
And he was almost an assistant pitching coach to Dave Duncan while he was down here and in the bullpen. Very good mechanics.
You are saying good mechanics. You buy into that now?
No, I said he was a good teacher of mechanics.
Oh, okay.
I never heard the word mechanics until Joe McGrain showed up.
And your buddy Mark Pryor.
Well, but Joe was prior to Pryor.
Here's the 0-1, and it's hit to short. Baroa across the diamond and gets Lopez by a step. Cardinals strand 2. They pick up 2. It's 3-3 as we head to the 4th.
Back at Busch Stadium, game tied at 3 apiece. There's actually some news about Ballpark Village. There is construction underway on site. The heavy machinery has been fired up. The first phase, we're told, is the grading to get the site ready for construction. Team President Bill DeWitt III telling us today the news on tenants for the proposed commercial phase of the project could come soon. Meantime, the grounds will be readied for use as part of the upcoming All-Star game. But guys, kind of nice to see construction underway on the site.
Well, there's no doubt. You're right, Jim. And the fans that have come down, it's been an eyesore to see that hole in the ground beyond the left field wall. And we want to tell our viewers right now we're down to just 1 camera that you're watching right now. So we apologize for that. Casey Blake on his way to second with a double. So on an 0-2 pitch, leadoff double after the Cardinals tied up 3-3.
I was down here early today and I saw those front end loaders doing their thing. So that was nice to see. Hopefully we'll see a lot of progress on a daily basis.
And walking in is Pablo Ozuna. Runner at second base is Casey Blake. Again, we're down to just 1 camera. We apologize for that. We are working on it. We'll get it fixed.
You mentioned that Pinheiro has allowed 10 hits or more in 4 consecutive starts. Already 6 hits.
Sacrifice is rolling foul off the bat of Pablo Ozuna.
So Pinheiro's allowed 6 hits in 3+ innings. And Derek Lowe has allowed 8 Cardinal hits in 3 innings.
It's a little bit surprising to see that from Derek Lowe, who at times has been great. They say when he's bad, he's really bad. Not a lot of in between, not a lot of gray area.
It was kind of like Looper last year.
Good
he
point.
was 12-12. He had an ERA under 2 in his 12 wins and an ERA over 9 in his 12 losses.
I can tell you that Pujols is in. You can see him in your picture. Also Troy Gloss. And that hit him. He's hit by the pitch. And Molina wants to argue.
They're saying a strike. They're going to call him back.
Yeah, Tony La Russa popped out of the dugout. He heads back right away.
Well, Tim Welke is the crew chief. He is your first base umpire and said he bunted at that ball and it's a strike. Still hitting, but the trainer out to look at it. His hand.
Ozuna is playing tonight for Jeff Kent, who's on the bench for Joe Torre.
Just a rest, a day of rest for Jeff Kent, and apparently tomorrow Russell Martin, their young catcher, will get the day of rest and Kent will be back out there. So trying to rotate their players a little bit.
Take a look at it here as Joe Torre's out there as well.
See, he makes the attempt. Did try to get it out of the way, but they ruled that it's a strike. Count 0-2.
Now, John Mozeliak, Cardinals GM, after the game was asked about what happened in the ninth, and he said point blank, you just can't keep giving games away like that. And that's the understatement of the season.
Point blank.
Yep.
And it was palatable because the Cardinals end up winning it thanks to the heroics of Ludwig. And already Tony not liking what he's seeing from Pinheiro as Brad Thompson is up and throwing.
Here comes an 0-2 pitch. Shallow center. Schumacher coming on. He'll make the catch. And you have to be a little bit concerned about the state of your bullpen going into this game tonight. The immediate help 24 hours later because of all the guys that have been pitching so much in that bullpen as of late and again last night.
Well, and it's a byproduct of starters not going deep enough into games, that you're constantly using relief core, and from multiple innings, usually 3+ innings per game, and it takes a toll. Tonight Franklin's not available, McClellan not available. They do have a reinforcement in Chris Perez.
Let me ask you this, Al. Do you buy into the fact that because Perez has been a closer in college, he's done it in the minor leagues, that he's a creature of habit, and that by coming up to the major leagues, not pitching a 9th inning, not being a closer, that it's taken him a while? Let's see if Turris can make the play, and he does. But it's taken him a while to adjust to a different role, not being a closer.
I don't really buy into that, because it's enough of a change here that, first and foremost, they're trying to ease him in at the major league level. He hasn't been pitching that long. And I mean, he was in college a couple of years ago, rapidly came through the system. And, if anything, it should be easier for him coming into setup role. But I mean, the major leagues, there's a big adjustment for him.
Here's Derek Lowe. And Lowe grounds it left side. Troy Gloss there. Over to Albert. Leadoff double is stranded out at second. That's Casey Blake. Pinheiro is Turris, and Schumacher coming up. Cardinals and Dodgers. We're tied at 3-3. Here in the bottom of the 4th. Going to check in with Jim Hayes momentarily. There's a look at the voice of Major League Baseball on Fox, Joe Buck, taking in the game with his wife Ann there on the left.
He shaved.
He did shave.
He's with Ann.
Think she made him? Said you're going outside the house.
I mean, there's such a thing as wives make you shave.
When are you going to lose that beard that you've grown over here the last 48 hours? That is that growth?
No, it's taking a little longer than that. It's much longer than you can tell. I'm Sean Connery in a new movie in Hungary, remake of Hunt for Red October.
Very nice diving stop, a throw to first, not in time, and Pinheiro picks up a leadoff base hit.
My wife is calling me the Chia Pet for my haircut, though.
I like it. I think you should keep it. Just my personal opinion. But you do whatever you got to do, Al. Tonight's ball game is presented in FSN HD, FSN High Definition. You better please her before you worry about me.
Well, so I told her I was going to grow a ponytail, and she said, "Go ahead."
Well, you should
I'm going to be like Manny.
I was going to say you should go talk to Manny.
Might have him help me. If he cuts his hair, I want the remnants.
They've already sold the 3 days in Los Angeles. The Dodgers sold $125,000 worth of Manny Ramirez merchandise, jerseys, and T-shirts. It's Manny Mania.
We only have 10 million people to choose from.
I'm just letting you know, Al. I mean, they've taken to Manny Ramirez. He has taken to Dodger Blue. It's a Dodger town, despite the fact that the Angels have made a little bit of an impact there in Southern California. Here's a 1-1 with the runner going. Hit left side, base hit. Pinheiro will stop and not test Manny Ramirez. So first and second and nobody out.
On his Turris, 2 for 2. Been swinging the bat a lot better of late. Pinheiro thought about it, and I'm glad he stopped.
So first and second for Skip Schumacher. Already 10 hits for the Redbirds, and we're only in the 4th inning. Schumacher, a couple of ground ball outs. He is grounded to second, also grounded out to first.
Now, if you're Derek Lowe, you don't panic, because you know you're just a couple pitches away from getting out of the inning because of his ability to get ground balls in turn 2.
Third baseman is in. That's Casey Blake. 3-3 game. First pitch to Skip. Fly ball into left center. Ramirez is there. Settles and throws and makes a nice play. Got there in position, turned his body to make that throw to third, and there's one out. Schumacher 0 for 3. Pledge your allegiance to the Cardinals with a membership in Cardinals Nation, the official online fan club of the Cardinals. Members receive lots of great perks: free game day audio, access to special ticket offers, discounts at the ballpark, and more. Join Cardinals Nation today at STLCardinals.com. Like we said the other night, don't hit into a double play with the man sitting on deck, and that's Pujols. Kennedy singled, scored on a wild pitch, also struck out. It's taken low and away.
That ball starts, around the belt. Just let it go because it's going to sink down below the knees. If it's up around the letters, go to rip it.
Outside, 2 balls, no strikes. Now, pitching with the lead is something that Joel Pinheiro has really struggled with recently. Leads in 6 of his last 7 starts, including tonight, and has relinquished those leads.
You really just have to bear down. You have to concentrate hard, and when you get into a situation you need to make a pitch, you have to execute.
Up the middle, base hit. Pinheiro held up at third base, and the bases will be loaded for Sir Albert. The crowd can sense it. They've got Manny. Folks here in St. Louis say, we got Albert. Nowhere to put him. Bases loaded. A single by Pinheiro. A single by Isturiz. A single by Kennedy. And some of these fans on their feet for Albert Pujols, and the bases loaded.
And about ready for that phone to ring.
He owns 5 grand slams in his career.
In the Dodger bullpen, Rick Honeycutt will run out another quick visit as they're stirring in the Dodger bullpen, and now someone's going to get their glove.
And Pujols tonight, if you're wondering, if you're just joining us, 2 for 2. He's got a single and a double.
Toronto. Ramon is getting up.
Ramon Troncoso, the Dodgers bullpen, the right-hander.
Troncoso.
I knew you were going, Al. It's all right.
Whatever it is.
He's a righty in the Dodgers pit. St. Louis with 11 base hits. 1 out. Bases loaded for Albert Pujols. Low on the ropes here in the 4th. First pitch to him. Pujols, left field. Ramirez will watch it fly out of here. Grand slam. Grand slam for Albert. His 6th in his career. 7-3 Cardinals.
Oh, he lacks a triple for hitting for the cycle. And that's put a charge in this Cardinal home crowd. You get a big enough lead, hard for a starter to lose a lead. It's hard for the bullpen to lose it. And a curtain call. And not a lot of those this year, have we? No.
First pitch and a buzz here at the ballpark. Pujols, his 2nd home run of the series, number 23 on the year. RBI 70, 71, 72, and 73. And it's a 7-3 Cardinal lead. The 1-0 to Ludwig. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ludwig with an RBI single to right. Nowhere to put him. You have to pitch to him, he'll burn you.
Single, double, now a slam.
And a no-doubter. Watching Ramirez watch that one fly out of here. Makes me think of Pedro Guerrero when Jack Clark hit that home run at Dodger Stadium, except Ramirez didn't slam down his glove.
He didn't throw down his glove. Which is still a classic for Pete.
How about back-to-back? To the track, to the wall, back-to-back, into the bullpen. 8-3, Cardinals, and Ludwig has hit another. Number 29.
When he gets hot, when he hits them, they come in bunches. Ludwig been on quite a home run tear. Albert now with 73 RBIs. Ludwig pushes his team lead to 29 home runs and 82 RBIs.
The ground ball pitcher giving up a lot of long fly balls. Goodbye to Derek Lowe. His night is through. Ludwig, another home run. He's done it again, number 29. And all of a sudden, Ryan Ludwig, Al, is in that discussion for MVP in the National League.
Well, you up get him an all-star berth, now get him the MVP.
Pujols with his home run, now 31 hits away from 1,500 in his career. He's 3 for 3 tonight. The third one, a grand slam. Bottom of the fourth, and the Cardinals have an 8-3 lead. Ramon Troncoso is into the ball game for the Dodgers. Here's our Hardy's prime cut of the game. A grand slam off the bat of Pujols in the first pitch in that at bat. He's 3 for 3, and as Al told you, a triple away from the cycle. Second look brought to you by the SunTrip.com cam. The SunTrip Automotive Group. Manny Ramirez, couple of steps. Why even bother? Cardinals go back to back. And the folks are having some fun. We saw Troncoso last night. Our Chevrolet call to the bullpen. His 19th appearance for Joe Torre.
He's 25 years of age. He's from the Dominican Republic. 6'2", 200 pounds. Supposed to have a power sinker.
Cardinals with 5 hits in the inning. Grand slam and then the solo home run by Ludwig. And Joel Pinheiro, the pitcher, got it all started. Now the question is, 5-run lead. Still early in this game. Is it enough for Joel, who's been giving up a lot of leads as of late?
Tony will have that decision to make, and he had Thompson warming up last inning. So you would think with a quick hook, and if he can't get through the 5th inning with a 5-run lead, Tony's going to say, I'll give that victory to someone else.
Ludwig, 397 feet, measured distance of his home run. The slam at 417. 2-2 on Troy Glaus. Folks having some fun here at Busch Stadium. 8-3 St. Louis. 2-2 on Glaus. The next to the Cardinal third baseman. Doesn't chase, outside, full count. Cardinals need to win. Keep pace with the Cubs and Milwaukee. Both those two teams won this afternoon.
Ludwig now has homered in 5 straight games, a total of 6 during those 5 games.
Here's a 3-2 to Troy Glaus. Hold foul. The Cubs 11-4 winners over Houston. Milwaukee won 6-3 over Cincinnati. So this is updated. The Cardinals a game back in the wild card, 6 out in the Central Division. See the Dodgers 2 back of the Diamondbacks. Arizona was beaten by Pittsburgh today, so a real big game for them here tonight. Troncoso comes in and walks the first man that he sees. That's Troy Glaus. And now here's Molina, who had a 2-out RBI base hit back in the 3rd. He's also struck out. Hey fans, you may have had some great seats here at the ballpark, but have you seen the view from the dugout? Experience it by taking a tour of Busch Stadium. They do a great job with these, and tours visit several unique behind-the-scenes locations here at the ballpark. 345-9565 to find out more. A grounder and a double play ball. The turn and Gloss, a hard slide into second. Clean baseball, but a double play. Big inning. 5 runs for St. Louis. They're back on top. So we'll be loaded with baseball on Friday. The Cubs and the Cardinals coming up Friday afternoon, and Rick Ankiel at 6:30. The home run hitters, Pujols and Ludwig. 8-3 St. Louis here in game 2. Top of the lineup for the Dodgers against Joel Pinheiro. Matt Kemp leads it off and takes a strike on the outside corner. 5-run lead should be enough, you would hope, but this year and this season we have no idea.
Man, a lot of game left, but this is a improved offense.
A liner caught by Adam Kennedy.
Improved offense here, but Pinheiro still should go out there and challenge these guys.
Now, we talked about Rick Ankiel and that spotlight show, and I think people really will enjoy it, but it's a short bench tonight with Rick Ankiel as you get a look at Dave Duncan, because Stavanoa has been sent down. The Cardinals with 4 position players, one of those being a backup catcher in LaRue. You're uncertain whether or not Ricky Ankiel can run, and then you've got Mather and Miles.
And you got your designated runner pitching.
Pinheiro, good point. He pinch ran last night. Andre Ethier is grounded out a couple of times. Once to Albert, the other time to short, and it's quickly no balls and 2 strikes. Here comes an 0-2 pitch to Ethier, the right fielder. Got him to reach. Ground ball hit to second. Taken there by Kennedy. And quickly there's 2 outs. And let's see if Pinheiro, with this cushion, Al, pitches aggressively and pitches relaxed. And maybe that's one of the problems right now, is that he knows Wainwright's coming back. Carpenter is back. And you worry about your future in the rotation.
If you worry about that, you're not going to be the major league pitcher that you hope to be. You've got to go out there and put, relax or put pressure on yourself, whatever it is to motivate yourself to get hitters out. You can only control what you can, and he stays in the rotation if he pitches well.
Center field, Schumacher, and a 1-2-3 inning for Joel Pinheiro. Lopez, Pinheiro, Izturis coming up. Baseball on FSN. Felipe Lopez leads it off for the Cardinals. Our Aflac trivia question: who is the Cardinals' all-time leader in pinch hits? We saw Mark Sweeney earlier, who has become just an outstanding pinch hitter in baseball in his career. Gerald Perry, he was so good at that. He's got 70 pinch hits for the St. Louis Cardinals.
And now Mark Sweeney is second on the all-time pinch hit list,
behind only Lenny Harris. Manny Mota was on that list for a number of years.
Yeah, Manny was the leader for quite a while now.
The Cardinals have Lopez, Pinheiro, and Izturis due up in their half of the 5th.
Back in 2005, it was Felipe's first complete National League season. He hit .291, 34 doubles, 23 home runs, 85 RBIs, and stole 15 bases. One of the best offensive seasons ever by a Cincinnati shortstop. He was an all-star and also won the Silver Slugger Award that year.
So Lopez digs in to start this bottom of the 5th for the Cardinals. And the first pitch is a strike from Troncoso. 8-3 St. Louis. The Cardinals with a run in the first, 2 in the third, and the big inning last inning. 5 in the bottom of the 4th. The 0-1 pitch to Felipe Lopez with the music going off. Lopez got a shock at the plate along with some of the fans. That's not supposed to happen mid-pitch. Ryan Ludwig with a home run tonight. That's now 5 consecutive games of the home run, which ties a franchise high for consecutive games with a homer. Last player to do that, you'd be right if you guessed Albert Pujols. He did it back in 2007. August of last season. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Lopez. And a grounder hit to the right side, taken there by James Loney. And that's the first out. Lopez in his Cardinal debut has been thrown out at the plate, and he's 1 for 3 with a single back in the second inning to right field. Joel Pinheiro tonight has sacrificed, and he's also singled and scored, so he's done well for a guy not known for his bat so far. Play was fairly close for the first out, maybe closer than we would have anticipated. First pitch to Pinheiro. The Suntrip.com cam. It's brought to you by the Suntrip Automotive Group.
Hustle all the way, and you can make plays close.
You know, Lopez is playing left field tonight. I don't remember him playing the outfield. Mostly he has played, as you mentioned before, at shortstop, and this year he's played second base 69 games for the Nationals there.
Yeah, and this is his 7th start in left field this year. So
Jim Bowden had a lot of guys that he brought over from Cincinnati to Washington. The GM. Austin Kearns and Lopez and a few others. 0-2 is the count. Is Turris on deck. And a strikeout, the first of the night for the righty Troncoso in relief of Derek Lowe.
his career high is like 3 1/3 innings, so he's their long man.
But what's on tap is brought to you by Bud Light. Afternoon baseball tomorrow before we head to the Windy City. Bud Light keeps it coming. It'll be Kyle Loge 13-3 against Clayton Kershaw. He is 1-3.
Remember, he made his major league debut against the Cardinals in
He was
impressive fashion.
Yes, he was.
That was the only game we did not do, but he was very impressive.
Good.
Very young, too.
Grounder off the bat of his Turris. He's 2 for 3 on the night. Manny Ramirez due up first when we come back. Manny Ramirez on base 6 times in this series. Earlier tonight, a solo home run, his 3rd wearing Dodger blue. They would throw it back. They're not going to throw back this one. A grand slam off the bat of Albert Pujols. Not to be outdone, back-to-back, Ryan Ludwig. And here is Manny Ramirez to lead it off for the Dodgers here in the top of the 6th. Ramirez, couple of base hits tonight. First pitch to him on the outside corner. Ramirez, the solo home run. Pujols with a grand slam. Ludwig, 5 consecutive games, and his last home run, number 29 on the year. The 0-1 pitch to Manny. Slowly hit, and that'll roll foul. A pitch that was over the middle of the plate. And you don't get away with many of those with Manny Ramirez.
No, you don't. Manny really hustling down the line. Took him almost another 90 feet to stop himself.
They start to boo him. Boo! Manny Ramirez. Boo!
There he is, running, hustling. Now watch how long it takes. Keep on going. Keep on going. You know, Manny, now it's a lot longer to run back. 99, huh? The highest number in franchise history, surpassing Joe Bimel's 97.
And he was asked about the significance of 99 in Los Angeles, and he said, I have no idea about hockey. Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, well, I got it.
Here's the 0-2 in the dirt. 1-2. Ramirez, Loney, and Blake for the Dodgers here in the 6th inning.
You see, Blake offered to give him his 30, number 30.
The 1-2 inside. 2-2. Back him off the plate. Let's see what he comes with here on 2-2. Our Chili's pitch count. Pretty good ratio. Only 16 balls of the 63 pitches thrown tonight by Joel Pinheiro.
And the fact that he's pitching here in the 6th inning. He's still in the low 60s with his pitch count's good.
Outfield is deep. The 2-2 is hit to third. Troy Gloss will charge. Gloves, throws. Ramirez retired for the first time.
Mislocation and got away with it.
There's some talk that Manny Ramirez, who will be 37 at the start of next year, is talking about a 4-year, $100 million contract. Scott Boras is his agent. And with everything that's gone on in Boston, you have to scratch your head if somebody would give him that kind of contract.
Well, he's produced, and he's playing right now for a club that could afford to do it. That's the biggest.
How concerned though would you be year 3 or 4 of that deal? He signed for $160 million with Boston after leaving the Cleveland Indians.
I'm sorry, Dan, but the cost of living has gone up.
Here's Loney, and a ground ball hit to second base. Adam Kennedy is there, 2 away. And it brings it Casey Blake. Blake has single, and he's also double. The pickup from the Cleveland Indians. Batting .368, 1 home run, 3 RBIs. We're in the top of the 6th. It's 8-3 St. Louis. Pinheiro is pumping in strikes.
Now, this is what we saw last year from him, the way he can perform and the way he can pitch. What convinced the Cardinals to give him a 2-year contract.
0-1 pitch. Hit on the ground is short. Is Turris up with it. Over to Albert. Another 1-2-3 inning. 9 straight set down by Pinheiro. Top of the lineup coming up. This portion of Cardinals baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Rico. Move your ideas forward with Rico dependability. And by your local St. Louis Chrysler dealers. Top of the lineup for the Cardinals. A statue of the great Jack Buck just outside of Busch Stadium. And the great Joe Buck is here. The best in the business. 8-3 St. Louis as they lead the Dodgers. Schumacher is 0 for 3. He's grounded out to second. Pulls that one foul. He's also grounded to first and flied out to left. Schumacher, Kennedy, and Pujols. We've talked about the addition of Manny Ramirez to the lineup for the Dodgers. Well, what does it mean for the Boston Red Sox? Jason Bay has played very well and hit well. They're 4-1 since the trade. There's a fly ball out to center, but David Ortiz is 2 for his last 20 since Manny has left. Cardinals conclude their series against the Dodgers with a day game. Tune in at noon. Hour-long edition of Cardinals Live, our pregame show here on FSN Midwest. We see that Ortiz has also been dealing with that sore wrist, and matter of fact, he heard a little click in his wrist the other day in a check swing.
Yeah,
some concern there. Here's Kennedy.
In Boston, the Yankees keep on chasing the surprising Tampa Bay Rays. They won again tonight at Cleveland, 10-7. Percival got the win.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. Hindsight being 2020, how good would Troy Percival look right about now in St. Louis? Oof.
He would have loved to have stayed, but he got a chance to flat out be the closer at the start of the season for the Rays.
And the 1-1 to Kennedy. Ramirez over and makes the catch. Very nonchalant by number 99. Don't normally do this, but a pitch by pitch brought to you by Chevrolet with Adam Kennedy.
Nice sinker out there, ball 1. Fastball that just stays up a little bit. There maybe get another sinker. Got a power sinker, and The ball was down, but left-handed hitter, low ball hitter for Kennedy.
Pujols a triple away from the cycle.
Ooh.
And knowing Albert, he'll probably try to put one right on the line and get a triple. The way he controls the bat.
Got a pretty good pitch right there. Martin set up outside, but it was over the middle of the plate.
0-1 pitch, and Pujols out in front. Strike two.
Good slider there.
Pudge Rodriguez in a collision today for the Yankees. And he left against the Rangers, and they're also putting Jabba Chamberlain on the DL.
Fastball, he wants him to elevate it, go up with it, trying to get him to swing through it.
You know, the amazing thing about Pujols is on a pitch like that, a little bit lower, how he's still able to get on top of the ball sometimes.
Yeah, it is remarkable how he can take an outside or a pitch that's up, even above his hands and above the shoulders, and still get on top of it and hit a line drive.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Albert. Just got a piece. Pujols with 23 home runs. A single in the first, a double in the third, grand slam in the fourth.
Right to slider.
The 1-2 pitch.
Backed up on him a little bit.
Sure did.
Look at all these Dominican kids, and so many of them grew up playing Manny Mota Little League. Manny travels with the ball club. This one a classy gentleman. Another slider.
And a check swing. I don't see that often for Pujols, where at times he can be a little bit over anxious. Even when the big situation arises, he's able to just kind of, and the great ones do it, just kind of tune out the crowd and focus.
Slider again.
2-2 pitch. Bounced it to the plate. Martin's getting beat up tonight.
Kind of curious why Albert kind of reacted on that pitch. He fouled off a little bit. I wonder if he just upset with himself not taking the ball and running the count full. It is full now. And it wouldn't surprise me if there were another slider. All right, fastball in. Look out.
3-2 pitch to Albert. Taken low. On base for the fourth time. 2-out walk. And we want to remind you that you can visit the official online shop of the Cardinals at STLCardinals.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic team gear. You can find caps, t-shirts, jerseys, and more. Get your gear straight from the source. Shop the STLCardinals.com shop today.
Ludwig now has homered in 5 straight games. It ties the franchise record. I think the last to do it was Jim Edmonds. And Pujols too, you think?
Albert did it last year, August of 2007. Here's a 1-0 pitch to Ryan Ludwig. Outfield is straight away and deep, and Ludwig again breaks his bat. That's going to get down for a hit. Pujols around second. And with 2 outs, he was hustling all the way and easily into third. How about Ludwig tonight? A couple of RBIs and 3 hits. Take a look at our replay. It's Sonic Good. Our Sonic Good replay of the night.
Always thought he was a low ball hitter. So going down and getting it, using his hands to kind of muscle it out there after it broke his back. Just looping into shallow right field, and Albert, that good base running, goes first to third.
Troy Gloss 4 home runs shy of 300 for his career. Pujols picked up that mark on July 4th against Bob Howry and the Cubs. 2 outs, runners at the corners, and that pitch is taken for a ball outside. Troncoso saw Troy Gloss, the first hitter that he saw tonight, back in the 4th inning as the Cardinals knocked out Derek Lowe.
And walked him back there.
ball, 1 strike on the Cardinal third baseman. Ooh, that's in there for a strike. Lost one of that pitch back. Strike 2.
Sure, he couldn't pull the trigger on that breaking ball.
Runners at first and third with 2 outs. 1-2 pitch. Check swing and he goes. Slams the bat, drops the helmet, he strikes out. Cardinals have stranded 6 on the night. It's 8-3.
Back at Busch Stadium, the Cardinals lead this one 8-3. We were telling you earlier about the work that is going on at Ballpark Village. There is work going on at Ballpark Village. The initial part of the work is grading, which is leveling the potholes and trying to get the ground level so they can start construction. They would like to get some commercial enterprises in there, but the short-term project, guys, is getting the site ready so that they can tidy it up and get it ready for events associated with the 2009 All-Star Game. But it's nice to see the work started, guys.
It certainly is. And Pablo Ozuna, 1 pitch and 1 out. That's how we start the 7th inning. Pinheiro seemed to be on the ropes, and now it's a pitch count at 69. And for those of you just joining us, at one point Brad Thompson now was up and throwing, so you didn't know that Pinheiro was going to last as long as he has.
Yeah, that was the leadoff double back in the 4th inning, got Thompson up, and he has not allowed a base runner since that time.
And that pitch is a strike to the 8th place hitter, Angel Baroa.
He's retired 10 in a row in very efficient fashion. Phil Mather is now playing left field in for defense.
And it's 1 ball, 1 strike on Baroa, who has a triple tonight and an RBI. Back in the 2nd, he's also grounded out to short. Felipe Lopez in his Cardinal debut tonight, 1 for 3 with a single. 1-1 pitch. Out to left. Mather won't get that one. 1 hop off the wall. Baroa will trot into second base with his second base hit of the night. He's 2 for 3 with a triple and that double. Cardinals campout presented by Bass Pro Shops, and Tracker Boats is back on Friday, September 12th. The Cardinals take on the Pirates. Come spend a night on the field under the stars here at Busch Stadium. For ticket information, call 345-9000 or visit us online at stocardinals.com. Ron Malone faced 1 hitter last night, and it was this man, Andruw Jones. And Jones is the pinch hitter for the pitcher, Troncoso. Jones on the season with 3 home runs and 14 RBIs and only 33 hits total this season, hitting roughly 160 on the year. He's now at 165 with that home run.
164 in his, with only 7 RBIs in 24 games, 20 starts since his return from the disabled list. Missed 38 games while undergoing arthroscopic surgery on his right knee. That broke an 0 for 10. That second pinch hit home run last night.
And a ground ball. Gloss is there. Over to first. Jones retired. Two outs. Top of the lineup, Matt Kemp. 8-3 Cardinals. Grand slam tonight by Pujols. Solo home run by Ludwig. Last time 7+ was June 27th at Kansas City. 7 2/3. Gave up 7 earned runs. The majority of those coming late in the game as the Cardinals stuck with Pinheiro trying to save their pen. Really gutted through those 7 2/3.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not really a situation where he's pitching so effectively he went 7 2/3. It was just more of a case of give us what you've got, as we don't want to bring in our bullpen and wear them out in a lost cause.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Matt Kemp. Kemp up the middle off the glove of Isturis. He'll gather it. Throws to the plate. That's not in time. And that gets away from Pinheiro, and a runner advances to second base. A base hit, RBI, and Izturis probably should have put that in his back pocket and kept Kemp at first. Suntrip.com Cam, brought to you by the Suntrip Automotive Group.
As a competitor, you go after it and bounces up higher, scrambled to his feet after he deflected it and made a throw home, but that allowed Kemp to put himself in scoring position, and that's why you're saying he should have put it in his pocket with a big 5-run lead. Now it's a 4-run lead.
They start to scramble in the Cardinal bullpen. Here's Andre Ethier, 0 for 3.
It's like Brad Thompson's up again.
Boy, it'd be huge if Pinheiro could get out of this inning. And you never know, maybe give you 2 more, and then you don't have to go to your bullpen as you get ready for the ball game tomorrow.
Yeah. Brad's up for the 2nd time. Brian Falkenborg, former Cardinal, is up in the Dodger pen.
We saw him pitch last night in game 1. Izturis backhands. Nice play. Long throw, and he got him. Time to stretch here at Busch Stadium. Dodgers pick up a run, and it's 8-4. Well, this Saturday at the Dodgers ballpark, Dodger Stadium, the USA's best incoming seniors from East and West play in the 6th annual Aflac All-American High School Baseball game. You can watch the game live in HD at 2 here on FSN. And there's a player, by the way, from the state of Missouri on the West team, Jacob Turner. You may have heard of him from St. Charles, Missouri, and Westminster Christian Academy. Right-handed pitcher, and the only player representing the state of Missouri. Paul Gross is tonight's merchandise winner, the Hyundai Long Drive Inning Sweepstakes. If the Cardinals hit a home run, Paul Gross qualifies for the Sonata drawing in September. To register, visit a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. Brian Falkenborg, remember him? He had that good forkball. Was up and down last couple of seasons with the Cardinals, and this is our Chevrolet call to the bullpen.
His contract was purchased from AAA Las Vegas on June 25th. He said last night was probably his roughest game, and that to me just trying to show a former team that, you know, you shouldn't let me get away. But appeared in 32 games at Las Vegas, was 1-1 with 13 saves and an ERA of 3.60. Struck out 41 and walked just 8.
And here comes a 2-0 pitch from Falkenborg to Molina. Hit out of play. Cardinals trying to hold on and win game 2 and take the first 2 of this series and win a series here at home. They've really struggled here at Busch Stadium, and that's very surprising.
And they're only 5 games over 500 at home.
2-2. But what's kept them in the race, what they've done on the road.
6 games over 500 on the road. And we're going to be after tomorrow on the road for extended period of time, 3 cities.
And after this next road trip, only 2 more road trips remaining. That's it. Go to Houston and Arizona. We've yet to see the Diamondbacks this year. You see what the Cardinals have done on the road, 31-25. They have a better batting average. Runs per game is up. ERA slightly better, and I mean slightly.
100th of a point, but scoring more runs, more offense, so it's negated.
You put your finger on it as to why?
No.
I mean,
No, because this is a team that has played well on the road, but they have really typically taken advantage of home cooking. They have not hit as well at home, and consequently they don't score as many runs.
2-2 pitch. Molina fouls it. Should be an interesting 4 days coming up in Florida. The Marlins, no one expected a payroll of $22 million. It seems like we say this every year about the Marlins. No one expected them to be in the race, and yet they are. Florida,
can't believe you're overlooking the weekend.
Is a game and a half out. Well, I'm not overlooking Chicago.
Think it's going to be interesting in Chicago?
Of course I do. just looking ahead to other aspects of the road trip. And then you head to Cincinnati after the Marlins.
And that's never easy in Cincinnati because of, you know, a bandbox that you have to pitch well there, and you know that they're capable of scoring runs. By the way, it was Jeff Suppan who won at Cincinnati today and beat Homer Bailey, who is now 0-6, a young phenom. But we saw him, you know, before they sent him out. He was really struggling at that time.
Here's Joe Mather, his first plate appearance of the night. I know Jim Hayes talked about some news concerning Adam Wainwright on the pregame show, and we're going to catch up with Jim momentarily. Here's the next to Mather. 2 balls and no strikes. There's a look at Wainwright. Threw to hitters yesterday. Gripping the baseball. Mather with a base hit out to left. And Jim, I know you had some news concerning Adam Wainwright for our viewers that were not tuned into the pregame show.
Well, of course, Wainwright threw to hitters the other day, 30 pitches against those guys, and then the Cardinals decided he was ready for a rehab. They said that it would be Saturday at a site and location to be determined. Apparently, they've moved it up. Wainwright will go for his first rehab start Friday night at Memphis, so they moved it up. Wainwright, by the way, says he feels great, although when he was throwing to hitters, Rick Ankiel did take him deep, and Wainwright said he struggled a bit with command, but right now the main thing is health, and Wainwright says he feels healthy.
Here is Rick Ankiel, and now a visit with Russell Martin and the pitcher Falkenborg. And Jim, to follow up on what you're talking about, as you got to the ballpark today, any indication of where they might wind up with Adam Wainwright as a starter or reliever?
Well, I think a lot will be determined what happens over the next week or so while Wainwright gets his health together and makes a couple of rehab starts. But I get the feeling that it will be Wainwright in the bullpen, possibly as a closer, if the bullpen doesn't come together in the interim, Dan.
All right, Jim, thank you. Here's Rick Ankiel as a pinch hitter. He walked last night, and then they pinch ran for Rick Ankiel. Again, he'll be on the Spotlight at 6:30 this Friday night here on FSN. The Spotlight program highlighting Rick Ankiel.
But still feeling the effects of the abdominal strain. Swing the bat, but not really cleared to run.
1 out runner at first, and Falkenborg another check on that runner.
He's not going to bunt, Brian.
I was here when Wainwright was throwing. It was around the 3 o'clock hour yesterday, and the home run that Jim talked about was a long one off the bat of Rick Ankiel.
And you got to remember, you know, it's like that was a great opportunity for Rick to, you know, get some swings in, and the closest thing to game conditions. And now Joe Torre will make a pitching change. He had a left-hander warming up.
So that'll be it, looks like, for Falkenborg, and he will go to his bullpen. Beimel will come in to face Rick Ankiel when we come back. A runner at first and 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. And Rick Ankiel will have a chance to do some damage here for the St. Louis Cardinals. We saw Beimel along with a host of others in that bullpen for the Dodgers in the ball game number 1 of this 3-game series last night. Beimel and Keel when we return here on FSN. Cardinals trying to hold on to an 8-4 lead. We remind you, Friday night, get a look around the major leagues. It's the Baseball Report, covering every team all season long with highlights, interviews, and analysis you won't get anywhere else. It's the Baseball Report, Friday at 6 right here on FSN Midwest. Well, tonight is the 10th consecutive game that Rick Ankiel has not started, all due to injury. And he will face Joe Beimel, his 49th appearance of the year. We saw Beimel pitching in the National League Central at one point with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's team high 49th appearance. Last year he set a franchise high with 83 for a left-handed specialist. one thing you got to remember, if you got a guy on first base, he has a very good pickoff move, so Mather's got to pay attention. He probably doesn't know much about him. And lefty-handed batters have hit 8 of the last 16. You know, have hits off of Beimel.
A short lead at first by Mather. The 0-1 pitch. Taken for a strike, 0-2. There's no doubt Ricky Ankiel has become a fan favorite here in town. By now, everyone knows his story around baseball. Converted pitcher. Average has dropped against lefties this year. Got off to the good start against lefties. 1-2.
But if they make a mistake and get a ball out over the plate or in the middle of the plate, you know, Rick has that ability to drive that pitch. He's done very well hanging in there for a young, and he is still a young professional hitter.
With not much experience. 1-2 pitch. That's the one thing that the Spotlight program will show you on Friday, as we forget how quickly he has gotten here to the big leagues.
I remember, you know, once he gave up pitching and went to hitting, you know, he still had some injuries and missed a full year with that knee surgery.
And last year truly was his bust out year. The 2-2 pitch to Ricky Ankiel instead of check on Mather. Pinheiro, first time in a long time he has not allowed 10 or more hits. 8 hits allowed tonight.
First time in 5 starts. And allowed 10 or more hits and a lot fewer innings than his 7 innings of quality work tonight.
2-2 pitch to Ankiel. Pulls it foul. Rick with 22 home runs, 60 RBIs. Talks about in the program how at times he gets to first base and the opposition will congratulate him on making it back to the big leagues and tell him what a great story it is and the respect that he has gotten around Major League Baseball. The 2-2.
And then they pick him off?
No pickoffs,
okay.
partner.
Okay.
He's all right. He's paying attention.
That'll win. That is a remarkable story, and it'll be good to see him get back into the regular swing of things once that stomach strain heals. And he's getting closer.
2-2. Cardinals have hit a couple of home runs tonight. Ankiel looks at a called third strike. Couldn't pull the trigger. Beimel records the second out. His first strikeout on the night. Suntrip.com Cam is brought to you by the Suntrip Automotive Group.
That ball jammed all the way back in his hands, but it looked like a breaking ball and just didn't pull the trigger. Like more of a change-up grip, but kind of acted like a breaking ball.
Here's Esteuris with 2 outs. Esteuris, a couple of base hits. He's 2 for 3.
Brad Thompson continues to warm up, so he'll come in for the Cardinals. He's shot in the arm if he pitched the final 2 innings.
1-0. Runner goes, and Mather a stolen base.
Very good jump off a tough left-hander. First stolen base for Mather. You see the jump right there. Rojas sneaking in behind Mather as they're going to intentionally pass Esteuris now.
Makes sense with the lefty-lefty matchup with Schumacher, and you've already used Mather and you've used Ankiel. You've got LaRue, who will not be used, or Miles as a pinch hitter who would not be used in this situation, you wouldn't think. Stay cool as the Cardinals go head-to-head with the Atlanta Braves on August 22nd. Stay cool with a free Cardinals cooler bag given to 10,000 fans as they enter the stadium. It's brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield.
I have to say there's probably a rare intentional pass for Esteuris. Could be wrong.
First and second for Schumacher. 0 for 4 on the night. Pair of groundouts. He's also flied to left and flied to center. Average at an even 300. We're at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Schumacher into shallow right. Base hit. Mather will score. Is Turris to third. And Schumacher delivers with a bloop base hit with 2 outs. And it's back to a 5-run Cardinal lead.
Well, the numbers dictated Joe Torre to make the move to have the lefty Beimel face the left-hand hitter Schumacher, but got the breaking ball up a little bit, hit it right off the end of the bat, plunks it in front of Ethier, and Mather is a very good base runner. And he comes on home with the Cardinals' 9th run. As Turris goes to third on the 34th RBI for Schumacher.
Run charge to Falkenborg. You can close the book on him. 2 outs, runners at first and third for Adam Kennedy. And Pinheiro given a cushion here. It's now 9-4. Cardinals will go to the bullpen for the 8th and the 9th. Russell Martin, Manny Ramirez, and James Loney coming up for the Dodgers in the top of the 8th. The 1-0 pitch to Kennedy on its way. Set up outside and caught the inside corner. 1-1. Hopefully that can give Schumacher a little vote of confidence as far as going against lefties. He has really, and I mean really, struggled this year.
It seemed like there's been 2 or 3 times of late that he has gotten base hits. See if they're not stalling as there's a reliever warming up, a righty.
Pujols on deck. The Cardinals just joining us. Let's give you the scoring. 1 in the first, 2 in the third. The big inning was the 4th. That's Chan-Ho Park warming up. In the 4th inning, the Cardinals got 5 runs and a grand slam by Pujols and a solo home run by Ludwig. 5 straight games he's homered. And now they've added to the lead with 1 here in the 7th. Prior to tonight, Schumacher was batting just .156 against lefties. That's his 16th hit against left-handed pitching compared to 101 against the righties. The 1-1 pitch to Kennedy. We'll take a look at this delivery of Beimel's. It's really odd, isn't it?
Well, it's, you know, it's old-fashioned. It's deceptive. And, you know, he's got a lot of movement. You can see how he's very tough on the left-handers because he almost steps towards first base and then throws across his body. And it really appears like he delivers the ball behind the back of a lefty.
Kennedy, a high fly ball towards Manny Ramirez. He's there and he puts it away. The last time we saw Adam Wainwright as a closer, who could forget it? 06. A lasting memory here in St. Louis. Walter Alston, look at misfortune the same way you look at success. Don't panic. Do your best and forget the consequences. Our Geico quote from Walter Alston, long-time manager.
Brad Thompson will take over. Perfect opportunity for him to pick up the final 6 outs and keep that bullpen rested. 4-2. Credit with his 2nd win on the recent road trip last Wednesday, logging 2 2/3 innings, 3 hits, 1 strikeout.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cardinals. First pitch by Thompson, taken for a ball outside.
Cardinals trying to win their 64th game and keep pace with the Cubs in Milwaukee.
And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Russell Martin struck out, grounded out, and flied out. 0 for 3. Manny Ramirez on deck, and then James Loney. 9-4 St. Louis here in the 8th. And a ground ball that's fair past Albert Pujols, who was playing well off the line. Over to get it Ludwig, and Martin held to a single. And it brings in Ramirez. Martin, by the way, now 5 for 21 hitting in front of Manny Ramirez, if you're curious. Just like hitting in front of Pujols is such an enviable spot in the lineup. Certainly the same way here with Manny Ramirez. Homer tonight. He's 2 for 3.
Let's watch out. Brad Thompson goes after him. Brad is, when he's throwing the ball right, he'll get a lot of ground balls, and the one to Martin was just well placed.
First pitch to Manny, taken inside.
Brad, 26 years of age. He's going to get married this offseason.
One time Ramirez did make it out. It was a ground out to Troy Gloss. 1-0 pitch. Jam shot, popped up. Kennedy. First out.
Very good pitch, up and in, gets a pop up.
James Loney. Loney grounded into 2 double plays last night, both started by the shortstop Cesar Izturis. Loney is 3 for 12 when hitting behind Manny Ramirez. Kent 1 for 8 behind Manny. As they try to figure out the right combinations for Joe Torre. Delivery of Brad Thompson here, Al.
You see very slow motion right over the top, trying to get on top of the ball and get that sinking action.
Suntrup.com cam brought to you by the Suntrup Automotive Group.
That one there might have been a 4-seamer as it was up and in, and got the pop up to from off the bat of Ramirez.
1 ball, 1 strike with 1 out. Cardinals in the bottom of the 8th will have that man leading off, Albert Pujols. Big gap into left center. The 1-1 pitch from Thompson. Fouled away and a good cut. Joe Torre said it's always great to come back to St. Louis, where he enjoyed his playing days and managed here, but he was commenting about the stadium before the game. He said this is a terrific ballpark. He really loves the brand new Busch Stadium. He said it was disappointing for him to see the last one go, with so many great memories for him, but very much impressed with this one. Pitch that's up, driven into right, and that will go all the way to the wall. Going to wave the runner in for first base. Kennedy's throw not in time, and the Dodgers cut it to 9-5. Back to a 4-run lead. RBI double for Loney, is 63rd RBI on the season.
See how many times they just missed location and really just up, kind of right belt tie, and pulled in. Loney, 63rd RBI. He only had 67 a year ago.
42,000 plus here tonight. A gorgeous night for baseball. 1 out runner at second base. Blake, a foul ball. Can the bullpen get 5 more outs and finish this off?
Tony on the bullpen phone. We'll see who warms up.
Blake is grounded out to short. He is doubled and singled.
Mark Sweeney's on deck.
0-2.
Might have been saying one more base runner who would get up in the Cardinals pen.
A year ago, the Cardinals had 11 blown saves. That was the fewest in the National League. They converted 76% of their save opportunities. This year, a different story. 0-2 pitch to Blake. Pulled foul.
Casey Blake, couple hits here tonight. There you see Mark Sweeney pitch it to Lux. Time was called. I think maybe the backswing might have hit Molina or something. So the umpire calling time.
One ball and 2 strikes.
Blake's hit .333, a homer, 4 doubles, and 3 RBIs, and 5 runs scored in the game since he joined the Dodgers from Cleveland on July 26th. 2 for 3 tonight.
Runner at second base. The 1-2 pitch gets away from Molina. To the backstop it goes. Hey, we get a good report that Audrey McCann is feeling better. Spent the night in the hospital. They're watching baseball tonight on FSM Midwest. They never miss a game. 2-2.
Hope that wild pitch was not costly. Ron Vallone starts warming up. I guess for the on-deck hitter. The 2-2 count.
Better get loose in a hurry.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, really, the mindset of a reliever is you got to believe that you could come into a game, you know, without having any warm-up tosses in the bullpen.
That's a base hit as well. Cuts the lead to 9-6. They'll test Ludwig, throw to second base, in there. And here come the Dodgers, and here we go again. Unreal.
Well, it made perfect sense to put Thompson in this game, and Tony's thought process is, got a ground ball specialist. He'll get me 6 ground ball outs. We won't have to use anybody. And here, see if Dave Duncan will make a pitching change. They had Vallone warming up.
And you can understand
Jeff
why this
Kent
crowd is uneasy with what's going on now.
Was Sweeney announced?
I don't think I heard him announced, even though he was standing at the plate.
Yeah, it's a little bit unorthodox. And now Jeff Kent.
I think Tony La Russa is trying to get a clarification as well. Was he announced or not?
Well, usually, you know, I mean, the way it is now, they usually on the way up there, they start, you know, announcing the guy's name. Now we'll have to find out officially whether Sweeney was announced or not, and it has a definite bearing. You know, you stand at home plate, then you see Jeff Kent come out there. So you had Vallone warming up. Now they just got Chris Perez up, but I mean, that's just been a couple minutes. Now they're going to clarify to find out whether he was announced or not.
Not to bring up bad things, but back in 2003, and this bullpen at times has been eerily similar, the Cardinals had 30 blown saves. That led the National League in 03. They had 30. They're 3 away from that now here in 08. And now all of a sudden it's a 3-run Cardinals lead.
And
you have to be a little bit nervous with the way this bullpen's been going.
Sure you do. And you know, and right now, whether Perez will have plenty of time. I showed earlier that they have 27 right now, the major league blown saves, and this is since they started keeping records back in 1954, is the Rockies in 04 with 34. Cardinals are on that 98. Still haven't really got a clarification whether Sweeney was announced or not. And I guess it's really whether the PA announced missed if the home plate umpire signified that he's into the game. And they're going to now he's going to talk to the crew chief, as obviously it looks like the home plate umpire missed something.
And this whole time Brad Thompson just standing out there on the mound trying to stay loose, and Sweeney is back in the box. Boy, that is odd.
Well, I think the confusion might have been whether he was announced or not. If he's announced, then Joe Torre wants to leave him up there. If he wasn't announced, he was trying to make the change with Jeff Kent. Here's Guccione. Looks like Guccione. It doesn't. It looks too small, doesn't it?
So runner at second base.
Now Tony wants a clarification. Brad, you should take some warm-up tosses. Of course, with Sweeney, now what it looks like the pinch hitter, he still has the option of going getting Vallone.
Let's take a listen here. Up an announcement there.
Well, yeah, but I'm getting the confusion here is I think they're saying he jumped the gun. And you saw the home plate umpire, instead of really signaling to the press box, was looking at Joe Torre and was maybe trying to, get the attention of the home plate umpire that I'm changing. You haven't made the announcement yet, or don't signal because I'm going to use Jeff Kent. That's the only thing it could be, something to that effect. But this is a very odd situation to see this much convening of the umpires to get this ruling right.
Now Thompson starts throwing.
I like that better. Very difficult for me to say Joe Torre, once he had his pinch hitter standing in the box, say that he's not there. Now we'll go talk to Joe Torre, and then we're going to go talk to Tony La Russa after this meeting. Tony gets the crew chief at first base. Joe Torre gets the home plate umpire and the crew chief's brother at the third base umpire. It's a family affair.
Now Torre doesn't like what he's hearing. Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, Tony's going to go, and I would think he's going to tell Vallone to get back up just in case, because Vallone has not thrown a pitch during all this time. And Vallone doesn't get up. He's telling Chris Perez that you're coming in, and they may be forcing Torre's hand to say you burned Sweeney, and so if you want, it's either Sweeney's the pinch hitter or you're going to bring Kent. That's Bill Welke right here. He's the third base umpire. Here's his brother Tim, is the crew chief. You know Joe's Italian. Look at all the hand signals.
Wonder where he ate in town. all the fine Italian restaurants.
I don't know, but our buddy Mickey Garagiola is probably going to interpret all that sign language for us. I hope Mickey's feeling better. Always got to say hello to the Mixter up on the hill.
A lonely feeling out there for Brad Thompson. He's given up 3 base hits, a couple of runs, but only recorded 1 out. At some point, you got to make a decision. Let's go.
I think what Torrey got the home plate umpire, and he never really officially told the PA to announce Sweeney. But Tony and Dave Duncan are going to react to the announcement, because the home plate umpire looked like he was looking over the dugout like, what are you doing? And then Kent came out. But standing at home plate, you sure think that that's a clear indication that's who you want to pinch hit.
She's upset.
She is very upset.
Not happy one bit.
These fans are passionate, aren't they? Fredberg could come in there and solve this. It's got them all shaking their head one way or the other, right? Now as Tony's going to be arguing. Sweeney's going back into the dugout. Jeff Kent's going to be the pinch hitter. And we'll see if Tony makes a pitching change or brings in Perez now. If that's the case, I think that's going to satisfy Tony. And Torrey loses his premier pinch hitter, Mark Sweeney. Now I wonder if a protest could be in line for this game.
You would think.
You know, Tim Welke's going to go into the phone. They're going to have a pitching change, but we'll see if Welke calls the press box about a protest.
9-6. Perez coming in.
Well, welcome back as Chris Perez, who was just brought up from AAA Memphis today. He is being called into this ball game. The Dodgers have protested this game, and the only thing I can think is that Torrey lost his deluxe pinch hitter. His Guccione kind of got caught in between. The PA may have jumped the announcement, but they got all these speed up rules. So they're, you know, when a guy walks into the batter's box, you cannot blame the PA announcer to make the pinch hitter announce that pinch hitter, as Guccione was looking over towards the Dodger dugout, was Torrey wanted to pull him back and bring in Kent, but Sweeney had reached the batter's box.
And the first pitch, fastball from Perez, a strike to Jeff Kent. Here's a question for you now, is if it stays 9-6, safe situation, who pitches the ninth for the Cardinals? Do you stick with Perez?
Well, we'll see what he does. Tony said he's been very ambiguous as to who his closer is, and I kind of read that, you know, he's kind of said, well, you know, I might have to bring in somebody in the 8th or even the 7th inning, and in order to preserve the lead to get to the 9th inning. So we'll go according to game conditions, but I thought that was a clear indication that he wanted to use Perez as the closer without saying so.
And a swing and a miss. He blew it right by him.
He fanned 16 and walked only 3 in 7 2/3 innings during his 8 outings after being optioned from St. Louis on July 18th. But he allowed runs in 7 of his last 10 St. Louis outings, 9 earned runs in 12 1/3 innings. That's what earned him the demotion. And that's not uncommon for a young talented pitcher to go up and down a little bit.
The 0-2, another fastball, got him. He never even swung the bat on that 2-strike pitch. And Kent didn't like it one bit. How about that? Whoa.
All right, just rears back. And just 95, I don't think you can argue with that one. It looked like caught plenty of the plate. Just Kent didn't look like he was very interested in that at bat. So 2 outs.
Here's Baroa. 2 for 3 with a triple, a double, an RBI, and a run scored. That triple was back in the 2nd inning. Fastball a little bit low. He has also grounded out to short. 4 pitches, and 3 of those have been strikes. Everything has been a fastball from Perez.
Like I said, when he was down there in 7 2/3, he struck out 16 and only walked 3.
Baroa pops it up. Albert leads it off as we move to the bottom of the 8th. Good work by Chris Perez. 9-6 St. Louis. Let's take a look at tonight's game recap. Joe Torre, Tony La Russa going head-to-head once again in the National League now. This is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Joel Pinheiro. At one point early in the game, Cardinals had activity in the bullpen, but Pinheiro settled in. Manny Ramirez would go deep into right center with a home run. Ludwig with a base hit. That would score a run. Grand slam by Pujols. And right after that, Ludwig again. Ludwig with 5 consecutive games with a home run. Get you caught up for the most part. 27 hits combined tonight. And Albert Pujols is 3 for 3. Pujols with a single, a double, a home run, and a walk. On base 4 times. Chan Ho Park, 33rd appearance of the year.
Chan Ho, you see his 4-3 record. Been around a long time. His 2nd stint with the Dodgers. He's allowed 3 runs in an inning and 2/3 in 3 appearances in August. Pitched very well at home. ERA under 2. And ERA about 2 points higher in 17 road games, including 2 starts.
Cardinals will turn to Kyle Loge tomorrow afternoon. Will they be talking about a sweep? Pujols a triple away from the cycle.
No one warming up for the Cardinals, so it looks like Perez will start the night.
And I like that. The way that he looked in the 8th. Pujols with no triples this year. And that's a strike on the outside corner. 1-1. Pujols, Ludwig, and Gloss for the Cardinals against Chan Ho Park here in this 8th inning. The 1-1 on the inside corner for a strike, and Pujols spins away, and he didn't like it.
Don't see that reaction very often from Albert. Set up inside. All looked like it was a bit inside, but he's got the big strike left, and he's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. Big difference, though, hitting 3-1, 2-2.
The 2-2 pitch to Albert Pujols. Right through the legs of Chan Ho Park. And Pujols a 4 for 4 night on base for the 5th time. Manny Legacy would not be happy with that.
No skate save. Just the fact that Albert's swinging the bat may kind of get you a little nervous about a comebacker.
You think?
Yep.
Here's Ludwig. We saw the comebacker against San Diego and Chris Young, and good to see him within the last couple of weeks return to action after the fracture that he received of that shot from Albert Pujols that was in San Diego. I don't think Josh Bart is back yet, the catcher that sprained his ankle. Ludwig opposite way, pretty well hit, and the catch is made by Ethier. Back to first goes Albert Pujols, 1 away. And it brings in Gloss, who is single tonight. He has walked He struck out, and he's also grounded out. 9-6 St. Louis. No activity in the Cardinals bullpen. It'll be Chris Perez in the ninth. On deck, Yadier Molina if Gloss does not hit into a double play. We'll see Yadi come up. Now that the guys in the truck have checked it, Bard has played in 2 games for the Padres since that injury. All coming in the same inning, too, I believe.
Both injuries, yes.
Yeah. A 1 pitch, and Gloss hits it a mile high. The shallow right, and the catch made by Jeff Kent. Ooh, a little tricky there. And it brings in Yadier Molina.
Ethier gives up on that ball, and watch Jeff Kent backpedaling and almost popped out.
Will this be it for Jeff Kent? Are we getting our final look at Kent here in St. Louis?
You almost got to believe if he wants to play, somebody, you know, less money
would give him that opportunity with everything he's done in his career. 2 outs, runner at first for Molina.
Look at his numbers. You know, I mean, he's still, you have to think he's going to be a Hall of Famer when you put him up against other second basemen. Batting .256 this year, 10 home runs, 46 RBIs.
2 outs, and the first pitch to Molina instead of check on Albert over at first. Looking ahead, Chan Ho Park's spot will be due up first, and then the top of the lineup for the Dodgers, Kemp and Ethier. Cardinals with 17 hits on the night. 17 against a team collectively that has pitched so well this year. The Los Angeles Dodgers, you go back to last night, the Cardinals had a lot of offense as well, too.
They had an ERA at 3.65 coming in. So Joe Torre's seen good pitching, and not many times has a team scored 9 runs or 17 hits.
Almost got away.
When the Cardinals get 10 or more hits, they are unbelievable. Cut's done a good job. Cardinals are 54-13 in games in which they reach double figures in hits. 54-13.
1-1 pitch. Molina to Park, and he's got it. This time not through the legs, over to first in the 9th inning coming up. Perez, can he get the final 3 outs? We're about to find out. It's 9-6.
Cardinals over the Dodgers 9-6 as we head to the ninth. Don't forget, coming up after the game on the post-game edition of U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live, we'll catch up with Albert Pujols and talk over his huge night. We'll have Tony La Russa's post-game news conference. Plus, Tony's strategy of batting the pitcher eighth. Is it working? Pat Paris and Rick Horton will have that and more coming up after the game. For now, we go back to Dan and Al.
Okay, Jim, thanks. Looking forward to it. Here's Perez. And here is Juan Pierre, who has seen his playing time diminish with the addition of Manny Ramirez. He's not happy about it. Pierre, no home runs, 24 RBIs, and hitting .279. The guy that gives you a little speed and explosiveness with that speed at the top of your lineup. He puts a little pressure on that defense.
Yeah, he's a fine player, but you know the other one's a Hall of Famer and has done marvelous things to get to this jumpstart this offense.
This has got to be the move, isn't it, Al, to have Chris Perez try to finish this game?
Well, to finish this game and to debut and see what he can do as the closer. But we kind of talked about it before, and I kind of thought the way Tony was so explaining who his closer was going to be, I thought that it was going to kind of, you know, that he was going to use Perez, but just didn't want to say it. Didn't want to put any extra pressure on him. He is 0 for 1 in save opportunities this year. And not unusual. You pitch the 8th inning, you get yourself in a little trouble going back out the next inning. See if you can battle back.
Full count.
You got the luxury. You know you got a guy that can't hit a home run. So you just go out there and throw strikes. Now that you've fallen behind, you can even, elevate the ball but try and make him hit it to center field. Of course, the outfielders are very shallow.
3-2. He walked him. Lead off walk. Baseball tonight is brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and easy drinking Bush Light. And by Chevrolet. See for yourself. Shop and compare at stlchevy.com. Nothing has been easy about ninth innings this year for the Cardinals. I mean, nothing.
Early in the season, as you got off to a great start.
There's the slider. And a strike on Kemp, who is lined out to short. He's lined out to second. He is doubled and has an RBI single back in the seventh. Matt Kemp here, and then Ethier. And then you get into trouble. You've got Martin and Ramirez lurking. Very quiet here in this ninth inning. It's taken a little bit low. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He only threw 5 innings to get the final 2 outs of the 8th inning.
5 pitches.
5 pitches. I'm going to say innings. It's pretty tough, isn't it? You get the final 2 outs.
It's all right. We know where you're going. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's a ground ball hit left side. Gloss to second. Out there on to first, not in time, with the good speed of Matt Kemp. So Pierre is off the bases.
Keep on getting that lead man.
Budweiser, great player of the game. Budweiser, the great American lager. How about Mr. Pujols tonight? A single, a double, a grand slam, a walk, and another single in the 8th. First pitch by Lowe at the bases loaded, and a home run, a grand slam for Albert, and a curtain call as well. Andre Ethier with 1 out. 0 for 4. 3 have been hit to the left side of the infield. 4 ground ball outs. Pujols will play behind the runner at first with a lefty up. Russell Martin on deck. The black of the outside corner. Very good pitch. 0-2.
No chance on that one. And Ethier's a good hitter.
Al, I can only recall maybe 2 of the 16 pitches, if that have been sliders. Definitely 1, I remember. First pitch to Matt Kemp, but basically all fastballs.
And he's just, I mean, he's doing what Yachty's telling him to do.
2 strikeouts for Chris Perez. Ethier's just carved up, and now the Dodgers down to their final out.
It's a little different too when you got a guy like Chris Perez when he is rested and when he's overworked. If you're throwing pumping fastballs and all of a sudden you don't have the movement, because he's got, there are times where that fastball can straighten up. There's your incentive not to to get Martin out.
We always talk about the guy hitting in front of Albert Pujols. How at times a pitcher will think about the man on deck, and that's Pujols.
Wouldn't be
same thing here with Manny.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the worst thing for somebody to go out and talk to him and just say, hey, settle back. He's just trying to get the 27th out. Don't try and rush it. Don't overthrow. Falling behind 2-0 here, and just kind of regroup. That's where a lot of guys, young guys, and what he's doing right now, taking a little time, collecting his thoughts, just kind of sit back and relax. Don't try and get it too soon.
A 2-0 pitch to Russell Martin on the inside corner.
The runner took second base. And now Yachty is a runner at second, so they may change the signs, but it's another thing. Just slow him down a little bit. Get those first 2 outs, then you get in a little hurry.
I don't understand why it would take Kemp that long to go take second base.
Well, I mean, you've seen guys that, when they play behind you, you should take it right away.
Sure. Get yourself out of a potential double play. The 2-1 pitch to Martin. Little chopper left side. Gloss charges, makes the play, and the Cardinals have taken the first two. 9-6. The final tonight here in game number 2. And they'll go for the sweep tomorrow afternoon. Big night for Pujols.
First professional save, or first major league save for Chris Perez. And this team needed it.
U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live is coming up. The Cardinals win it 9-6. Post-game show. Stay with us here on FSN Midwest.